Welcome to MMA on the Rocks. My name is Bill Welker. You are listening to episode 290 something. I just realized I didn't number the episode, but you know what episode you're listening to because you clicked on it to download it or whatever you did to watch it or listen to it. Today's Sunday, November 6th. If you're watching this show live, it's either on YouTube or Twitter because the Facebook page has been obliterated. I have no idea what happened. It just doesn't exist anymore. If you search for MMA on the Rocks on Facebook, there are no results. I have no idea what I did to the people of Facebook to turn them on me like this. We've been banned from broadcasting on Facebook before, but we were still able to post so I could share the YouTube videos, etc., or like stupid memes that I make. But now we are it appears for the time being anyway, we're banned from Facebook altogether. So I did some Googling and I can't figure out what's wrong, what would have possibly led to the page being deleted, but here we are. So it's either somebody at Facebook just hates this show and has been out to get us, or somebody hacked it, but I can't see. I don't think I've made any enemies to the point where people would take the time to try and hack my Facebook page and delete it. So I don't know what's going on. If anybody knows how to fix this sort of thing, please feel free to reach out on another social media platform, since I can't see your messages on Facebook anymore, which is, I know, is the way that some of you have gotten in touch with me in the past. So if you need to get a hold of me, it's at MMA on the Rocks on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. So you can reach me there. If you want to catch the show live, make sure you're subscribed on YouTube and Twitter. Turn on your notifications so that you know when the show is going live. I'm a little bit baffled. I just found this out right before I turned on the podcast. I went to go live and it told me Facebook was disconnected, which happens from time to time. So I went to fix it, and my page is no more. So all that content that was posted on Facebook is just gone. So I guess I'm gonna have to reach out to somebody there to help me with this. But I also am at the point where I don't really care about Facebook anymore. It's just been nothing but headaches, and they ban you for no reason. I wish Elon Musk would buy Facebook now. Elon, if you're watching, can you go ahead and just buy Facebook too, and reinstate MMA on the Rocks, please? You got an extra, I don't know what it would cost to buy Facebook, an extra 300 billion lying around just to help me out here with my little podcast. I would really appreciate it. Wild stuff going on in the world. No show last week. That was my fault. Well, not entirely my fault. I had a little mishap at the gym while I was holding pads for a training partner. I took a blow to the throat, an accidental blow to the throat. It's kind of a long story how it happened. But it was a fellow training partner's shoulder hit me like right in the esophagus, and something popped out of place. I lost my voice for a couple of days, and it was pretty painful. Started to get better, and then out of nowhere, something popped out of place again. I should probably see a doctor about it or something, but Motrin and ice has been doing the trick so far. So if it gets any worse, I guess I'll go see a doctor next week. But that's why there was no show last week. No Jeff the Animal Wilson this week because you guessed it, folks. He's on the road again up in Boston, Massachusetts, visiting Beantown. Just having the time of his life, this guy, not a care in the world. Traveling all over the globe, all over the country, just having a blast. Last I spoke to him, though, he did not go to the Cheers bar. And those of you who know Jeff know that he is obsessed with the show Cheers, as well as Frasier, which was kind of a spin-off from Cheers. But kind of disappointed that Jeff didn't make it to the Cheers bar. It goes all the way up to Boston and doesn't even visit the Holy Land. So we gotta find out what's going on with that. I'll grill him next time we have him on the show. But he's actually driving back from Boston's 4 or 5 hour drive back to New Jersey, whatever it is. So he's doing that right now. Maybe he's listening. How's it going, Jeff? Let me know if you made it to Cheers after all. So that's what's going on here. I hope everybody had a great Halloween. I know I did. My daughter's at the age where Halloween's just really a lot of fun. She picked out her costume in like July and surprisingly stuck with it. You know, usually kids, like, they change their mind a million times. In July, she decided she wanted to be Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz and stuck with it the whole time. When it came down to, you know, going out and buying her costume or ordering her costume online, whatever it is we did, you know, my wife handles all that stuff. It was still Dorothy, and she had me dress up as the Scarecrow and my wife dressed as the Tin Woman. And, you know, we frolicked down the yellow brick road that is our hometown and did the trick-or-treating thing. And it was a really great time. It's awesome that, you know, she's of the age where she's really a lot of fun to do things with now, because she can actually hold conversations and tell you how she's feeling, which is a big help as a parent. Some people never figure that out, but luckily at the age of 4, my daughter has mastered that skill somewhat. As much as a 4-year-old can master it, I guess. Before we get into any MMA, I need to talk about BKFC 32 because I had some past and current teammates who all had success on this card. My former training partner, Brandon Allen, and I say former just because we went separate ways, went to different gyms. There's no bad blood or anything. But we used to train together. Now we don't. Brandon Allen, 3rd round TKO over Josh Marer. So big win for him. Knocked the guy down like 6 times in this fight. So I'm sure his hands are sore today. My former training partner, Ryan Reber, defeated Jack Grady. And if you're into BKFC and you missed this card, I recommend watching this fight. This fight was wild from the get-go. So Ryan won via disqualification. So during the weigh-ins, these two got in each other's faces. They were screaming at each other. It got a little chaotic. And then in the first round, Grady headbutt Ryan in the face, like clearly intentionally, to the point that the referee separated them, asked Ryan if he was okay, and deducted a point immediately. Then he's getting tagged up in the second round, goes and does it again. And the referee just calls the fight. Disqualification for my boy Ryan Reber. Congratulations to him. 3-0 in BKFC. Super happy for that dude. But the fight was wild. So then after the disqualification is announced, Ryan goes over, flips the double bird to Jack Grady. Grady attacks Ryan. A melee ensues. A whole bunch of people come into the ring. And out of nowhere, you see Dave Feldman, the promoter of BKFC, just beeline to Jack Grady and tackle him. It's a wild scene. But I recommend checking it out. And not just because my buddy was the one who won the fight, but It was a spectacle for sure. Immediately after that, my current training partner and my boxing coach, J.R. Ridge, defeated Chancey Wilson. And this was just a fantastic fight. Two flyweights. They were really going at it. I was worried going into the 5th round of this fight for JR because I scored the first 3 rounds for him and the 4th round for Wilson. But the 3rd round was questionable because I thought JR was doing more damage and landing the better shots. But Wilson was like kind of yelling and talking a lot of shit, and he was kind of being the aggressor. JR was counterfighting. So I thought the judges could have given Wilson that 3rd round as well. And then I thought Wilson won the 4th round. So I thought going into and JR was looking fatigued in the 4th round too. But I thought going into the 5th round, it was 2-2. And JR came out in that 5th round and just turned it up a notch. Like, he really unleashed the dog and showed what kind of fighter he is, and had Wilson like basically TKO'd at the end of the fight. He had him collapsed against the ropes. Super proud of JR for that performance. And then it turned out that 2 of the judges had given him all 5 rounds, which I don't even agree with that. And this is this is a good buddy of mine, a training partner that I see every week. We've been training together for a few years now, and even I wouldn't have given him all 5 rounds. You know, I was worried going into that 5th round. I gave him 1 through 3, but the 4th round, it seemed like, you know, maybe he took it off because he thought he was up, or, you know, I'll ask him about it next week, obviously. But yeah, I didn't think he won the 5th round. One judge gave it 50-47, which is a weird score. It means there must have been a few 10-10 rounds. I guess those 3rd and 4th rounds that were pretty close, I guess they gave a draw. But in any case, big congratulations to my brother JR Ridge on yet another BKFC win. Now, where do we start? I guess I'll start with the most recent UFC card with, let's see, what was it? UFC Vegas 64. Yeah, so back at the Apex, this card was supposed to be Bryce Mitchell and somebody, but it wound up being Amanda Lemos and Marina Rodriguez. Rodriguez was the favorite going into this, but Lemos has that power that just, you know, she's got that game-changing power, and showed it at the end of the 3rd round. You know, once she had Marina hurt, she just swarmed her and was just clubbing her up against the cage until Jason Herzog, who, for my money, is the best referee in the game, stepped in and stopped it. Rodriguez was still standing, but probably not for long. Just brutal knockout power, especially for a strawweight. You know, we're not used to seeing this kind of punching power at this weight class. You know, we've seen, you know, obviously Rose Namajunas has knockout power, but, you know, she's knocked people out with kicks. And with the punches, it's more of a volume thing. We've seen, you know, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, super technical and accurate striker, scary on the feet, but she never had that one punch knockout power. So I don't know. This may be, correct me if I'm wrong, this may be the first time we're seeing this at strawweight, which is exciting for that division. You know, the championship is about to be contested next week, I think. Is that on this card? Yep. Carla Esparza and Weili Zhang, a co-main event next week. We'll get to that in a little bit. But this main event, I don't imagine there were a ton of eyeballs on it. It's just not like, it's not an interest-piquing fight for most people. It turned out to be a great fight. But it was also kind of like, you know, Marina was playing it very smart, very technical. She was trying to counter fight a lot. She was picking her shots, and Lemos was a lot more patient than I thought she would be. And I think she surprised a lot of people with her patience. Because usually, she's looking to land a big shot right away, but maybe going into this, she realized it's a 5-round fight. She's got to pace herself. And yeah, I mean, she did a great job of that. So credit to her. Let me see if I can get show you guys what I'm looking at here. Yeah, but again, I think because of this main event, it's possible that, there weren't a ton of eyeballs on it. Co-main event, great fight. Neil Magny, Daniel Rodriguez. This was, I'm getting a little confused with this. I think maybe Rodriguez won the first round and then Magny came back and controlled the second round. Did I get that right? It was one or the other. And I'll tell you guys, it's not even because I was drinking while I was watching this. Truth be told, it's no booze November for me. This is my dry month of the year. Try to take a month off every year just to let the organs get some blood in them for a change. So the wife randomly wanted to do November this year, and looking at the calendar, we didn't have a whole lot going on. So I didn't need alcohol to cope with or anything this month. But yeah, taking the month off and getting a little cleanse, a little detox. But yeah, I can't remember who won which round in this. I'm pretty sure Rodriguez won the first, and then Magny came back, and it looked like Rodriguez had Magny hurt in that last round, and then Magny came out of nowhere with the, I believe it was a Darce choke that he finished him with. It says a Brabo choke here, but yeah, man, Neil Magny is just talk about durable. I mean, the guy, he can take a licking and keep on kicking, so to speak. So that was a good fight. Then we had Nuremberg Shailan over Derek Minner, and there was some kind of injury on Minner's part in the opening exchange of this fight. They exchanged like a couple of strikes, and it looked like Minner's knee blew out or something, and Shailan just mauled him, like didn't give him a second to breathe or think about it. Ends up being a TKO, but hopefully his knee just clicked out of place or something and he didn't injure something badly. Let's hope that's the case. And then we had Tagir Ulanbekov over Nathan Maness. This was just a straight mauling. Just dragged him to the ground, and it was kind of holding him down. And then as Maness started to get up, he got caught in a high elbow guillotine that just looked brutal. So let's see. Our friend Mark Fellows over in Australia saying Minner's coach won a lot of money on that fight. So I heard. Sounds scandalous, Mark. Sounds quite scandalous. I don't want to be one to throw accusations, but I'm interested to hear if there's a backstory on that one. Where he kicked a guy in the leg before he got in there so he could make a few bucks. Let me know when you find out some details on that. This fight was surprising. Grant Dawson submits Mark O'Madsen. So Mark O'Madsen, Olympic silver medalist. However, it was surprising that I was seeing Dawson out grapple a high level wrestler. right while I was watching the fight, but then I found out that Dawson missed weight and that this fight was a 158-pound catch weight. That makes a huge difference, you know? I mean, Mark Madsen is used to competing with people who make weight like to the ounce. Obviously wrestlers of that caliber take weight cutting very seriously. Yeah, I was surprised to see Dawson take him down so easily still though. He was just grabbing single legs, and then once he got on top, it seemed like Madsen was very uncomfortable off his back, which is understandable. Yeah, I mean, great performance from Dawson, but like make weight, dude. Come on. Or move up, go up to 170. We don't need this. Miranda Maverick defeated Shauna Young. Full disclosure, I didn't see the prelims, so if anything really stood out that I need to go back and watch, which it looks like it was almost all finishes, except for Miranda Maverick and Johnny Munoz Jr. All finishes. I definitely want to check out this Tamiris Vidal flying knee to the body TKO in the first fight of the night. That sounds like it was a good one. And Mario Bautista, another fight where someone missed weight. Mario Bautista submits Benito Lopez with a reverse triangle armbar. And Polyana Viana against Jinyu Frey, 47-second knockout. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go back and watch that one. After I just got through saying like, oh, we don't see a whole lot of knockouts at strawweight. Of course, there was one on the same card that I didn't see. It's just the universe will just do anything to prove that I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm fine with it. I find it humorous, actually. That's that card, folks. In a nutshell, kind of breezed through that one pretty quick, but it was a quick card. 11 fights, and there was only, let's see, only 2 decisions on the whole thing. Can't ask for much better than that for free. I mean, what else do you want for free? Pretty solid card. I mean, I went back. I didn't get to see this live. I was out doing stuff with the family, but I was able to watch it in like an hour with fast forwarding through the commercials and in between the fights. I watched the whole main card in like an hour. So you can't ask for much better than that, in my opinion. Let's see. I got to change the screen for what I'm looking at here. So you guys are going to have to look at just my face for a second while I figure out how to share the screen again. For those of you just joining, I have been excommunicated from Facebook once again. And it's not just for live broadcast. It's the whole page is gone. They just deleted me from existence. So MMA on the Rocks no longer exists on Facebook as of this moment right now. I don't know who I pissed off at Facebook and for what reason, but if we don't get it fixed, then make sure you're following or subscribed on Twitter or YouTube or all that stuff. Spotify, iTunes, AM radio in Kenosha. I think we're on. I don't know. Anyway, real quick, I found this so interesting last week. So Arnold Allen, big win over Calvin Kattar. And in the long run, it's not going to matter that Kattar got injured because it's a TKO win for Arnold Allen over a top featherweight, and This guy is just a beast, and he was dominating Kattar pretty much. He was running away with this fight. And then Kattar goes to throw a knee from like way too far away, and it looks like he hyperextended his other knee. Very unfortunate, but like very confusing, because this is like maybe the 6th main event this year that's ended in an injury. I don't know. I don't know if it's been that many, but it seems like a lot. Tom Aspinall, Brian Ortega. There were a few like co-main events too, I believe, and now add Calvin Kattar to the list. It's strange. It's very strange, and I think the last time I brought this up, I told you guys, I had a chiropractor when I was back in New York, and he was a big New York Giants fan, and he would talk to me. Oh, TJ Dillashaw as well with the shoulder thing. Thank you, Mark. So this chiropractor was a big New York Giants fan, and he was just talking to me about all the injuries in football, and he said, in his opinion, these guys are just getting too big and strong for their own bodies, and the joints can't keep up. And I'm wondering if that's what's taking place in MMA, because it's still a fairly young sport. 1993 was, almost 30 years ago. Yeah, just about, right? 29 years ago. So in that time, we've seen the sport evolve so much, and people realize like, oh, jiu-jitsu is super important. Oh, but for jiu-jitsu to be effective, you got to have wrestling. And no, you can't just have wrestling. You got to learn how to strike. And oh, now you got to do everything. You got to mix it all together. We're learning this in real time, right? Some of us have been fans of the sport the whole time this has happened. We saw it all happen in real time. So now we realize all this about the mechanics of the sport, but now add in nutrition and strength and conditioning. And you get quote unquote experts coming from all over the place, like, oh, this is the way you got to do your strength and conditioning. I remember when Rich Franklin was champion, watching videos of him train for his title fight. He was working out on like Smith machines and doing circuits on there. Now you wouldn't see a fighter like going anywhere near that stuff. But as the strength and conditioning evolved and got more specific to MMA, you have, like I said, people are figuring it out in real time. So they're trying to revolutionize it. They're trying to be ahead of the curve. And in doing so, it seems like we're in a swing now. We're in like an era of guys are either overtraining or they're doing things that's causing damage to their joints and they're not aware of it. So maybe some new training tactic that, has made its rounds within the community, and we may not know for several years what's causing it. Maybe it's a certain supplement that, a fucking protein powder everybody's taking that grinds the cartilage in your joints but makes your muscles swell up. Who knows? Maybe it's these guys are cutting too much weight. That could be a big factor as well. You're not rehydrating properly. You're carrying all this extra weight, more stress on your joints. It could be a combination of all these things. And I feel like we're going to have a revelation in the coming years. Like, oh, well, back in 2000, from 2020 to 2024, everybody was doing this one exercise for strength and conditioning. Turns out, it really fucks up your knees. Who knows? Like, yeah, everybody was running uphill with 75-pound kettlebells and they got super strong, but just tore the shit out of the ligaments in their knees. And they got in the cage and their tendons were just made of dust. So who knows? Maybe it's something like that. Maybe not. In any case, big win for Arnold Allen. Maybe it's just a bunch of fluke coincidences. Max Griffin defeats Tim Means by split decision. That was a pretty good fight. Pretty good fight. I'm not gonna go over this card too much because I'm sure you guys heard so much about it already. But Trayshawn Gore with a nice guillotine submission over Josh Friend. He got a fight of the night bonus, I believe. Khalil Roundtree and Dustin Jacoby. This was the controversial one of the night. A lot of people feel like Jacoby should have gotten the nod there. I thought it was a close fight. I thought Khalil Roundtree was being a little passive. You know, he did a lot of training in Thailand where, you know, in Thailand, they fight so frequently, and I'm talking about Muay Thai kickboxing. They fight so frequently that it's a general rule that they take off the first round, and it's kind of like a gentleman's agreement that they do that. So I don't know if Khalil Roundtree has kind of adopted that kind of mentality, but yeah, it was still a pretty close fight. And then we had Roman Dolidze with a knockout of Phil Hawes in the first round. That was pretty devastating. A pretty awesome fight, that one was. Marcos Rogerio de Lima submits Andrei Arlovsky in the first round. Man, that was depressing. Arlovsky's been around. Like, this sport's been around since 93. Arlovsky's been doing this since 89. Something like that. He's been fighting so long. He's been around since before the sport. He predates the sport of MMA. Man, what a legend. 40-something years old. How old is this guy? Let me see. 43? 43? Jeez, I thought he was like 49. All right. 43. 43. That means he could do another 2 years in the UFC and then still make a run in Bellator at heavyweight. If he wants to. He'll be like, watch out for this guy. He's only 45. The Bellator heavyweight division will be shaking in their walkers. Let's see. Then the other big one, a lot of people talking about, Chase Hooper. TKO'd by Steve Garcia in the first round. I know this kid's taking a beating. Like, he's what is he, 23 years old? I don't mean taking a beating in the cage, but just in the media and stuff like that. I think it was just too much too soon. You know, his striking wasn't developed enough to be fighting at this level, and even the fights that he's won recently, he's taken so much damage. It's just not going to be good for a sustainable career. His striking defense needs a lot of work. A lot of work. He's a tough kid, and he's got a lot of skills. Obviously, his ground game is phenomenal, but you know, getting in there with very little striking experience and holes in your defense at this level of the sport is just dangerous. And you know, I don't want to see the guy get hurt. I hope he takes like a good amount of time off and really focuses on that defense. And the thing with like learning kickboxing or boxing, when you come from another discipline, when you first learn, you're learning how to throw punches and how to throw kicks and how to set things up and how to move your feet. Defense is not typically the thing you learn right away. You kind of have to have the fundamentals down. And because people learn in that order, if you start getting in there and competing before you get to the point where you've developed the defense and all you have is offense. But if your offense doesn't work and you can't get the fight to the ground, you can get yourself in some trouble. And hopefully he figures it out. I mean, he seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. Seems like a good kid. I hope he does. And again, I'm not trying to pick on him or anything. I know he's been taking a beating in the media, but yeah, I would love to see him just work that striking defense, work more evasive maneuvers, not keep his head straight up. And, hopefully he's able to have a long career, sustainable career. All right. Let's get through this now. All right. My screen sharing's all wonky today. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. All right. I got it here. I've got it. So next week's the big one. November 12th. Kind of bummed. I'm going to be sober for this one. I would love to have a drink to enjoy this main event, but, health's a little more important. We got to worry about longevity here, just like Chase Hooper. My body needs to work on its defense. Got a lot of offense. I'm able to take in a lot of booze, but, I've got to defend myself against, other shit. Got to drink a lot of water. Taking a lot of protein, you know what I'm saying? All right, so this is a big one. This is a grudge match. Everybody knows the backstory here. These two guys, Israel Adesanya, the current middleweight champ, and Alex Pereira, have met twice in the world of kickboxing. The first time, Adesanya got knocked out. The second time, he lost the decision. Pereira thinks he's got Adesanya's number. Adesanya thinks, I've been developing in MMA, and this isn't kickboxing, and I'm not the same fighter I've been. We all know the X's and O's here. Now, what's going to happen in this one? I don't have a clue. Adesanya seems to do his best work, aside from the Jan Blachowicz fight where he was just, Jan was just too big. Aside from that, Adesanya seems to do his best, like in the fights where people think he's going to lose. He's just that kind of fighter where if you back him into a corner, that's where he shines. And he's backed into a corner here. People have been sharing the clip of him getting knocked out by Pereira. It's a dark shadow that's cast over his career. It was being shared before this guy even appeared in the UFC and started obliterating people. I don't think it will affect Adesanya mentally. But here's the thing. Even if it doesn't affect him mentally, does he have better skills than this guy? Yeah, in kickboxing, we've seen, he lost twice, obviously. So, you lose 2 times to a guy, you kind of have to say that guy probably has better skills. But this is MMA. It's not kickboxing. There's small gloves. Adesanya has a lot more experience. Like 3 times as much experience with these small gloves. Getting the timing down. Using things like the clinch, dirty boxing and things that don't exist in kickboxing or aren't used very much. He's went and got himself a purple belt under Andre Galvao. I don't think he'll try and take this fight to the ground, but I think it would be interesting if he does. Then you have Pereira, on the other hand, who has been training with Glover Teixeira. Glover, a light heavyweight, says this guy's a handful to grapple with. Glover Teixeira, high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. won the light heavyweight championship and almost defended it. Longtime training partner of Chuck Liddell back in the day. Glover was the guy that people were talking about needed to be in the UFC. And now Glover's the guy saying Pereira is a handful in the gym. That's interesting to me. That's more interesting to me than the 2 wins Pereira has over Adesanya. That was, that was a generation ago. That was before COVID. COVID lasted 19 years, and it was before that. So that's old news. But now the fighters that these two have become, that's what interests me about this fight. I don't think Pereira is in his head. I really don't. I think Adesanya is good about that stuff. I think it's going to come down to who is the more skilled fighter. And Adesanya has all the experience in his corner. He's got a ton of skills. He's probably more well-rounded. But Pereira is just a killer, man. That's a scary dude. He just has to touch you one time. He's got 25 minutes to do it. Adesanya's got power, too. He's got that precision knockout power where he can, he'll stun you with a couple of shots and then set you up for the big one. But Pereira can pull the big one out of a hat. And that's what makes this fight intriguing. Madison Square Garden, could there be a bigger stage? Then we got to jump down the card. Talk about this. I'm not even going to say the second most. The most important fight on this card is my man, Matt Steamroller Frevola, finally getting in there against Otman Azaitar. If you'll remember, these two were supposed to fight during the pandemic when they were on Yas Island, where everybody had to be COVID tested to come in. You guys remember all this. 19 years ago during COVID. Remember COVID? You guys remember that shit? Oh, now I'm going to get one of those COVID warning things on my Spotify now. That's if I haven't gotten kicked off of Spotify too. Giving you guys false information about COVID just because I asked you if you remember it. Anyway, Frevola and Azaitar were supposed to fight, and then Azaitar was caught on camera climbing the balcony from one hotel room to another with a bag of stuff. We still don't know what was in the bag. He says it was potatoes, but I don't know. He got booted out of Yas Island. I thought he got kicked out of the UFC. Let's see. Did he have a fight outside of the UFC? He's still undefeated. So we got the Bulldozer versus the Steamroller here. You got to love that. Okay, so he hasn't fought. So Azaitar has not fought since September 12, 2020. What was it? That was during COVID. So 17, 18 years ago. Something like that. I don't know. Math's not my thing, guys. But my boy Frevola has had a long layoff himself. He hasn't fought since that awesome performance against Gennaro Valdez in January. So he's been out of there, 9 months? Almost 10 months? Pretty long layoff there too. And he wasn't in there a long time. He was in there for 3 minutes. So the Bulldozer and the Steamroller are going in there, with 3 minutes of octagon time combined in the last 2 years. But obviously, you guys know where my loyalty lies here. I'm with my boy Steamroller, so don't even question me on that. Co-main event, Carla Esparza putting a title on the line against Weili Zhang. This is an interesting fight. I feel like you guys are going to think I'm crazy. I feel like when she's on, Carla Esparza is the better fighter here. I know a lot of you are going to think I'm crazy for saying that, but Carla has had points in her career where she just wasn't into it. I think that's the best way to put it. I just feel like, maybe she didn't want to be there. She was just fighting for money. I don't know. I don't know her personal story. That's just my observation as a guy who watches the sport and observes people. But the times when she seemed motivated, like she was training hard, Carla Esparza is a fucking handful. She's a handful to deal with. And I wouldn't be surprised if she went in there and beat up Weili Zhang for 5 rounds. I would not be surprised. If she shows up, we'll know when we get a little more through fight week. It'll kind of, I think she'll kind of show which manifestation of herself is going into this fight, and we'll have a better idea. And I would say wait until then before you put any bets down, especially based on, the bullshit ramblings that I have on here. I'm not even allowed on Facebook, for God's sakes. Don't bet your hard-earned money on anything I say. But all I'm saying is, if she looks sharp this week, I wouldn't be surprised if she beats up Weili Zhang for 5 rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the other way either. Zhang's an incredible fighter, but I also think Esparza has something to prove here because she's coming off of winning the title in like one of the least desirable ways possible. I mean, that fight with Rose Namajunas was like an all-time stinker. And it's like, I don't know how that fight was even judged and like how she came away with the win, but she did. She's got the belt. She's going to defend it. And I feel like she's got something to prove. All right, Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler. Who's not excited for this fucking fight? This one is going to be phenomenal. Chandler's a wild man. He's gonna just run across the cage at Dustin Poirier. Poirier is a technician. Both of these guys are good everywhere. Obviously, Michael Chandler has big advantages in the power and in the wrestling. But as far as like technical boxing skills, you got to go with Poirier. If you want to go, you want to talk about submissions, Poirier's got better submissions, though it's been a while since he's submitted anybody. This one's going to be fun. This is one that I would have loved to see like for 5 rounds, like a fight night main event. But, here we got it in the middle of the main card on a pay-per-view. I'm not mad about it at all. I feel like a lot of people are just as excited about this one as they are about the main event. Frankie Edgar getting in there with Chris Gutierrez. I don't know why. Dan Hooker and Claudio Puelles. That's a fun fight. And then his teammate, Brad Riddell, going in there against Renato Moicano. That's an interesting one. Very interesting. Wow, this card is awesome. Looking this up and down. Dominick Reyes and Ryan Spann. This is on the prelims. This is a great card. Erin Blanchfield and Molly McCann. Andre Petroski and Wellington Turman. That's going to be a big one. Of course, Steamroller and Otman Ozaitar. Then you got Karolina Kowalkiewicz way down on the prelims against Silvana Gomez Juarez. Mike Trizano and Sungwoo Choi. That's actually a good fight. Julio Arce, Montel Jackson. And then Carlos Ulberg, 6-1 Carlos Ulberg against Nikolai Negumereanu. First fight of the night. 14 fights on this card. This card is pretty stacked. This is one of the biggest cards of the year. You got the grudge match in the main event. A lot of people are looking forward to this one. There's a lot of Izzy haters out there. A lot of people waiting for his downfall. The loss against Yan wasn't enough for them. They want to see him. They want to see him, go down. Like that's just how it is when you're great. When you're great, there's always going to be people lining up. The greater you are, the more people there will be lining up, rooting for you to fail. That's just something that comes with greatness. And Israel Adesanya is one of the greatest to ever do it. One of the top pound for pound fighters in the world. Man, this card is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to this. All right, well, it's been a night, folks. Found out I got kicked off of Facebook. Everybody else is all upset about Twitter. And here I am saying, fuck Facebook. The Twitter thing hasn't affected me at all. I wasn't verified on Twitter, so I don't have to pay $8. So that's nice. I feel like I'm saving $8 a month now. Somebody needs to get in there and buy Facebook and fix this. So, Alon, withdraw your Bitcoin or something, scrounge together 300 billion or so, and go take down Zuckerberg too. It's not enough that you're reorganizing Twitter. Like we gotta get this show back on Facebook here. So do me a solid, will you? Obviously you guys know I'm just kidding around. I don't really care. If you guys want to get a hold of Jeff the Animal Wilson, you can't. So you can send me a message and I'll get a hold of him for you. Since he's out traveling once again. Went up to Boston. If you guys want to get some merchandise, please do. As always, I'll put the links in the show notes. It's through our friends at Team Reaper. Reaper1.co is the website. You can use the promo code MMARocks10. Save yourself 10% on your entire order. Grab yourself one of our t-shirts, tank tops, or hoodies, or you can get yourself some fight gear. The guys I talked about earlier on the show, Brandon Allen, Ryan Reber, JR Ridge, they all have merchandise available through Team Reaper. So if you guys want to support some fighters, Team Reaper is awesome because they put money in the pockets of the fighters. So those of you who are always saying fighters need to get paid more, now you do your part. Get some cool shirts and gear, and give them some money so they can watch their diets and get their training gear and stuff that they need. That's it. I had a good time talking to you guys and ranting about Facebook. And maybe we'll get it fixed. Maybe we won't. But either way, I'll talk to you guys next time. So until then, cheers, everybody. Bye.